Hello and a very warm welcome to the Makuhari Messe Hall for this men's goalball action here at the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympic Games. This is quarter-final stage. We've got two games coming your way in this session. It is Japan taking on the People's Republic of China first. Then it will be Ukraine taking on the United States of America. The winners of each team now in the knockout stage will secure a place in the semi-final of the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympic Games. The teams are all set to go, going through their warm-up process as you join us in the Makuhari Messe Hall for a fantastic game coming your way in the quarterfinals. It is the first game of the knockout stages in this competition. There we see Japan and China. Ukraine taking on USA, Belgium, Lithuania, and Brazil taking on Turkey are the 8 teams through from a thrilling knockout stage. In the pool competition, we had it all, and I'm sure the quarterfinals are going to deliver just as much action. If you are new to goalball, then a very warm welcome. This sport has been around for 75 years, and they are celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. As we look at the results from China. Now, China have 2 losses and 2 wins, and it was that win against Germany that secured a place in their knockout stage as all of Group B finished on 6 points, and it went to goal difference. And China just edged ahead of the European champions, knocking Germany out and securing their place here in the quarterfinals. While the team in the white shirts and black bottoms of the home nations from Japan with 3 wins and just the 1 loss there against Brazil, but making their Paralympic debut here in the home games, and they have really set this court alight. So there's the results of these 2 teams, and they're competing for place in the semi-final. So let's tell you a little bit more about goalball.
Well, goalball is played by the visually impaired, and we will see the athletes with the gauze placed over their eyes and then eye shades over the top. So any visual impairment is evened out, and everybody plays in this same visually impaired darkness. So Japan against the People's Republic of China on the court. 3 sections, a landing zone at each end. In the middle, we have the neutral zone. The ball must be played underarm. The ball weighs 1.25 kilograms. It has bells in, so our athletes can hear it coming. And it has to be played underarm, up the court, ensuring that it touches their landing zone and the neutral zone before progressing towards the goal of their opposition. You've got to try and score more goals than your opponent. And the court is the same size as a volleyball court. It's 18 meters long. And the net is massive, 9 meters wide. And 3 players will be on court at any one time trying to defend it.
And in this game, we have 3 players on court at any one time. There are 6 of the teams, so substitutions can be made through the 2 halves of 12 minutes. We'll bring you more rules as they happen, as we have 2 referees who will be looking out where the ball lands and making sure the ball does land in their landing zone and neutral zone, otherwise there'll be penalties. So we'll be listening out for high ball, long ball, and also some team delays. But as that happens, we'll bring that more to you in the game time. Here we see the lineups for China. China with their main striker, the number 3 is Young Mingguan. He has 12 goals to his name. 10 of those goals, 2 are penalties. They also have Sai Changui and Chen Liang in their 4th Paralympics competition, where they were gold medalists back in Beijing 2008. A lot of history in this team for China. The coach, Ying Xinquang, has selected his starting lineup, and we'll see them on the court very shortly. And let's bring you a little bit about Japan.
So Japan have plenty of firepower taking to the court. Number 1, Sano Yuto, top scorer for them so far at Tokyo 2020. 13 goals. He's also the man they call on when a penalty needs taking. 5 penalties to his name. The student, just 21 years old and playing brilliantly on the right wing for Japan. 9 goals for Miyaki Koji. and Kanako Kazuya has 11 goals. So that's averaging more than 1 goal in 10 throws when you look at the statistics as the Japanese get themselves into position. Just to point out for those as well who are, as I say, unfamiliar with the game, you'll hear a hooter that's generally telling us what the time is, or a buzzer, I suppose it should be called. The referees will have whistles, and you may even see something that sounds like a strangled duck, and that could be telling us about a team penalty.
So the referees will be calling silence on the court. They'll be mic'd up, and they'll be guiding us through the game on letting the players know. The noises to listen out for will be the 2 whistles, and that's what these 2 teams are looking to do. They are quite literally putting their body on the line to defend their goal and score as many goals as they can. Now the referee will blow their whistle twice to signify the ball has crossed the line and a goal has been scored. In previous Paralympics with full crowds, obviously the noise behind the scenes here in Tokyo is a little bit quieter, but there's still a lot of background information that's happening.
7,000 people watching goalball at some of the matches in Rio, which is a real treat for the goalball players.
Let's bring you to your referees. We have Riza Degan and Svetlana Moraz. As you'll see, they have got microphones on, and they'll have a handheld whistle where they'll be signifying to the players. The game is 2 12-minute halves. Every time the ball gets blocked out of play, the clock will stop. It's only when the ball is in play that the clock moves forward. As we start to look at who our starting lineups are going to be for each of the 2 teams. The head coaches choosing their 3 players who are going to take this battle on. Now, China do have the slight advantage in the head-to-head. They've never yet competed in the Paralympics or on the World Championships, but in the Para-Asian Games in 2018, China beat Japan 9-3. So Japan looking for revenge here in that defeat.
Just getting themselves into position. Also feeling their way around the court. We have lines that are marked out in white so that the TV audience can see it, but our players find their way around by feeling them. There's a piece of string underneath the tape, and that helps the players locate themselves. Hu Minyao on the bench. Looks like he won't be starting, but has been banging in some goals for China when required. Strong in defence. Kaneko Kazuya. He plays with his left hand, which is a massive advantage in goalball, where you're listening to find out which way the ball is coming from the other end. And a left hand can really catch you off guard. As we go through the eye shade check, this is a necessary part of play at the beginning of each half. The referee's coming on court to ensure that the eye shades that our athletes are wearing have no kind of damage to them, there's no light coming through them, and that everybody is equally impaired as they make the start. Find a little bit of stretching necessary because these athletes are up and down off the playing surface, standing up to make a throw, and then straight back down, full length, laying out to try and block any balls that might be coming like a rocket from the other end. These balls travel very, very fast. And at 1.25 kilos, they're pretty hard when they hit you.
And around 40 miles an hour, the speed they're throwing at. As we see the starting lineup for Japan just getting their eye shades put on. Once those shades are on, they're not allowed to touch them again. If they do need to, they'll call the referee. So it's Sano Yuto, Taguchi Yuji, and Kaneko Kazuya for Japan. The number 1, 4, and 7 will be the starting lineup for Japan. Japan will be in the white shirts and black shorts. The People's Republic of China in the red tops and black bottoms. They have the experienced 38-year-old Sai Jiangui, Young Mingyuan, and Yu Shixuan. Let's go to the referee before we get this game started.
China starts with the ball. Play, please. Play.
Welcome to the Makuhari Messi for men's quarterfinal action here in the goalball at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. This is Japan taking on China. Japan attacking the goal to our left-hand side. China in the red shirts with the black bottoms attacking the goal to the right. And the second attempt for China there just gets a deflection off the legs and onto the post.
And that lifted up in the air. That's when the ball becomes dangerous, because those bells become quiet.
All silence as the three defenders in their laying out position here as Japan attack down to the left-hand side from the right, the angle. Straight away they bring the ball back into the centre. Taguchi Yuji plays centre for Japan. Has a very defensive role within the team, allows his other team members to do the attacking. He plays at central role. He has his defenders on the left and right-hand side. Ball has gone out of play.
So played in silence, but you may hear the players making noises on the surface to try and disguise where the ball's going, put their opponents off.
Sanya is going down the centre, that rotational. Turning that shoulder, whipping the hand through the ball, trying to generate as much speed as possible. The ball's got blocked out, so the clock does stop and the ball goes out of play. There's the one whistle to say the clock is back on, up and running. Kaneko swinging from that left-hand side to the right, trying to find that gap between the defenders. They call them the pockets. Taguchi, those bright yellow trainers, just feels his place back in the central defensive position as Japan attack down the right-hand side and the ball rolls out on the left.
Plenty of experience on the People's Republic of China side. Japan in their first Paralympic Games, but really working together as a strong unit already.
There's a big power whip, just gets past the legs of the central defender, but the overlap and the defense of Kaneko is enough to stop it. The ball this time bouncing into the chest of Yu Shuangchuang. Also very, very defensive. Has only had 20 throws at goal in this whole competition. Both centres very, very defensive, letting their teammates do the work on the attack.
Good to hear communication between the teams.
21-year-old Sana Yuto attacking from the left to right. You'll notice the players, yes, they have one set defensive position where they prefer to play, but when they come to attack, they can move anywhere across that 9-metre court and start outside the court, as you see there. Ball trapped between the feet of Sana Yuto, and that defense for the shot from China.
That's Kaneko with the clicks, the little noises you can hear.
So each team just working each other out at the moment. Haven't played each other in the knockout stages in this competition or at a major competition before. As I mentioned, China do have the advantage in 2019 and 18 with victories. Japan have been one of the teams of the tournament in the pool stages. Big, fast shot from the left to right-hand side, that angle, but the ball staying so close to the ground, just gets some, generates some speed.
Fast and frantic.
The bouncing ball option down the right-hand side. So we've got Sai Zhangui looking for an equipment check.
It's
Anytime the players have their eye shades knocked, then they have to put their hand up and let the referee come. They have to turn away from their opposition, so not to gain an advantage.
We're seeing a team in Japan that at the beginning of their goalball career at one of those tournaments where they were beaten by China was constructed really to give them international experience. And being such a young side, they are coming on in leaps and bounds. Been very impressive in the group stages.
With the pandemic hitting, a goal hits the back of the net for China. They take the lead down the right-hand side. Quickly from that equipment check, it is a goal to China.
And that's 23-year-old Yang Mingyan. That makes it number 13 in this Paralympic Games tournament for the 23-year-old from Hangzhou. And he puts his team in front.
So advantage China with just under 9 minutes left on the clock. One of the things Japan have been working on through the pandemic. They had a couple of friendlies with Ukraine, and they know they had to work more on their defensive side of things, as the attackers all around the world are generating a lot more speed and power than they first predicted. Not been short of goals though, Japan. And managed to break the defense for all the teams, scoring almost double figures every game.
Sent absolute shockwaves through the goalball world with their 11-1 mercy of the USA in their second game of the competition.
So teams coming through a group of 5 qualification, the top 4 qualifying for the knockout stages. Japan finishing top of their pool, while China finish in 4th place. It was a last game win against Germany that took them through their all of the Group B, finished on 6 points, so with 2 wins each. So it was a real even group, and it was down to goal difference, and it was only a matter of 3 goals that gave China the nod ahead of Germany in that final game.
Absolute heartbreak for Germany. They were absolutely inconsolable after that match here on day 6.
Yeah, European champions out of the knockout stages. They'd set their hearts on a medal here, as have China. They've got gold in Beijing, and then have dropped down the levels slightly in London. They finished 5th, and in Rio, where they got 7th. So looking to get back to that form, seen them with the gold medal. But here, it is just a 1 gold lead so far in this first half.
Oh!
Let's double that to 2-goal lead, and it is young Mingwan again with his 2nd goal of the game.
And he pops that one in the pocket, number 5, right between the legs of the Japanese number 4, Taguchi and Kaneko. Both of them going feet to feet, but neither of them able to get in the way of that blast from China.
China accurate on their goal shooting, but also solid in their defense. So Japan have got a task on their hands here. There's a lot of action still to play in this game. Typically in a goalball game, there's around about 100 throws each per team, attempts at goal. Here we see Kanika just going round from the left-hand side of the centre, angling that ball across down the left-hand side. Another line shot for young Mingwan, just grazes the post.
Goes down as a miss, as it leaves the playing surface before it gets blocked out by Japan.
Young Mingwan really mixing up his options of the attack, not just on the bounce ball and a flat ball, but also where he's angling that ball coming in. Finding that pocket for that 2nd goal, but also finding the line on the outside of the court for his first. There's that big rotation, but easily picked up by Yu in the centre. And once the team do get their block in, they have 10 seconds in which to then take their throw. We have a timeout called here. It is 6 minutes 23 left on the clock, and it's Japan 0, China 2.
So Japan calling the timeout. You can only call the timeout when you have possession of the ball. Time to rehydrate and have a little think about how things are going. Interesting to see that the Chinese bench are all taped up and ready to go on at any opportunity. Chen Liang looks like he can't bear to sit down. He's 36 years old. He was the top scorer in Beijing when China won the gold in 2008. But at the moment, the number 4 having to follow events from the bench.
So support here, making noise for Japan as the hooter sounds, and we're good to go back in the action. And it's Sano to take us over. The 21-year-old whips that ball down the right-hand side, comes in about 1 metre into the legs. Oh, it squeezes through. Oh. It's a 3rd goal. More an error from Japan. But it is the 38-year-old who gets on the score sheet here. China 3-0 up.
Literally rolling back the years there, Sai Chen-yong. Changui, he's got a guide dog called Triple Good, and that was pretty triple good right in the centre for China and putting them 3 goals up.
So questions being asked of this Japanese defence, this young squad.
It's a great story about Changui. He played at London 2012 and picked up an infection in his eye, was hospitalised with it and put on a drip. But he decided he didn't want that, so he snuck out of hospital to continue playing for China. No medals that day.
Just missing out on that. They're getting a 5th finish in London. This young Japanese squad looking to get themselves back in. 5 minutes left to play in this first half. And that ball just bouncing past the hands of the 38-year-old. But it was wide of the post. So Changui just with a gentle attempt, rolling that ball from the angle. Leaves the power swings now to Young Min Wan.
It's an interesting difference in styles. The Chinese solid, calm, absolutely know exactly what each other are doing. The Japanese so nimble, so quick, so fast down onto the surface and quickly back up again when they need to be. A real difference in styles. I don't think anyone should underestimate the skills of getting up off the playing surface from your knees.
So this game must come to a conclusion today. Very different to the pool stages. So if there is a tie at the end, a draw at the end of this game, then it'll go to 2 3-minute halves, where a golden goal will secure a place in the semi-finals. Japan would love to be in the semi-finals in the home Paralympic Games. But to do that, they've got to breach this defence of China 3 times just to level the game. And they haven't managed to get too close so far. And while China are just starting to pick their shots, 4 minutes left to go.
You can't underestimate playing the neighbours either. New Zealand, Australia have a famous rivalry. England, France, Japan, China. In any kind of sporting event, it's that extra little bit of effort to try and beat your neighbour. That's Kaneko.
Sai Changui on the left-hand side. Gets the defence on the block, but the ball had just gone out of play again. Fine margins of keeping that ball inside this 9-metre wide court when you're trying to split the defence and break the pockets of this Chinese defence. There's that low, flat ball again from Young Min Wan. High bouncing ball. Just landing aside the neutral zone, which are those 2 sections in the middle. If the ball does fail to land in one of those 2, it'll be called a long ball. You also have to land the ball in your own landing area. Otherwise, the referee who's watching that line will call it a high ball. Looks like substitutions starting to be made and prepared for on the Japanese bench. With Miyajiki getting set, the number 8. Another line shot on the right-hand side for China, and it is a substitution.
There's a lot of power coming down the right wing from China. When Sai Changui is putting the balls in from the left, they're a little slower, a little more difficult to hear how fast the ball's coming down the court for the Japanese.
And we've seen the success he's had with that, with one of the goals there. So Kanika takes a break for a moment, and Miyajiki, the 26-year-old, who actually moved from Osaka to Tokyo to commit to his career in goalball.
Was talent spotted and brought into the sport.
9 goals to his name so far in this competition. And there he injects a little bit of pace in the Japanese attack from the left-hand side. But Xingchang takes that power straight away. So effective, these two defenders in that central position. Very effective. There we see Yu again, just jumping at that ball, getting that body right behind it, not allowing it any deflections.
Interesting, different noises, vary from every team.
Ball just deflecting off the legs and just goes wide of the post. Timeout called for China. It's 2 minutes 16 left on the clock. They've yet to concede a goal, but lead by 3. So this young Japanese squad with victories against Algeria, USA and Lithuania, just that one loss against Brazil. Being put under pressure by the Chinese team.
Taking time to really wipe down where they can as well, and careful not to touch those eye shades.
China gets back underway with 2 minutes 16 left on the clock. Slow skipping ball. Young mate generates so much power. That tall stature, that rotation of his shoulders. Ijaki goes down the centre. Gonna have to work a little harder to challenge you in the central position on defensive duties. Sai Changui, experienced veteran of the team. Takes down the centre, quickly push back. Japan are going to have to be quick to get this ball away, and so not to concede a penalty. They do get the ball away down the right-hand side. So even Sai with the classic rolling technique there still generates a lot of power in that technique. Those 3 steps he takes forward and following through the momentum, and that's where Young Ming-wan has generated his expertise from, and then helping take this Chinese to a 3-0 lead as he has 2 goals to his name so far.
Oh, the effort in that block from Taguchi. Oh, he really felt that one.
This is where they put the body on the line. Switching the angle up from the right to left this time. Here's Young Ming-wan, but well defended by Japan. Almost a breakthrough off the legs of Yu, but just sailing over the crossbar. That would have been almost the perfect answer going into half-time, just leveling the gap to 2 goals.
Miyagi really getting some effort into that. It just had so much momentum that it took it right over the top of the goal.
Such a physically demanding sport, both offensively and defensively. Core strength, flexibility. It's all about speed, power, and accuracy as well. Oh, it's a 4th goal for China. Stepping across the left-hand side.
Yeah, Young absolutely nailing that in pocket number 3, rocketing it down the centre of the playing surface, and the outstretched hands of Taguchi, not enough to slow that ball.
Well, that'll be a response that Japan were not expecting. They've been looking to go into this half at least with a goal to their name, but they're down by 4 here. China have been so efficient on defensive duties and then lethal in attack. As the buzzer sounds, and we go into half-time in this men's quarter-final match here at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, and it is Japan 0, China 4.
会場に来られなかった方、ファンの方からたくさんの応援メッセージが届いています。 そのいくつかを大画面に映します。ご覧ください。We have received so many special messages.
So a chance to just give the court a bit of a spick and span, spruce up. Just a 3-minute break in goalball. And that statistic says it all. It's just been the People's Republic of China all the way in this first half. The first of the men's quarterfinals at Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games in the goalball.
So the support bouncing for Japan.
Big power play from the People's Republic of China so far in this match. Those goals bruising their way into the back of the net. Let's take a look at those match statistics. Not really much to be read into them at this point. Going into the match, we could see the players that were scoring more freely, and before the match started, we saw more than 1 in 10 goals from Kaneko Kayusa. Compared to the throws that he'd had in the competition so far. And nothing like that so far for the Japanese players. They're just not able to finding a way to break through the big, strong blocking of the Chinese team.
So the referee's checking on all of the players. Kawashima comes on for Japan for Taguchi. He'll play that central position. What words have been said on the Japanese bench after that first 12 minutes in this game? China leading by 4. There is support here for Japan in their home Paralympic Games, making their debut. They are going against one of the top teams, gold medalists from 2008.
No change of ends at the Paralympic Games due to the ongoing pandemic.
China 4, Japan 0. Japan, half-time substitution, out number 4 in number 9. Japan starts with the...
Japan's substitution, laid out number 4 and in number 9.
日本に選手の交代がありました。4番の田口選手から9番の川島選手が入ります。
So ready to go with the second half here. Japan attacking the goal to our left-hand side in the white shirts and red bottoms. China attacking the goal to our right in the red. They are up by 4 and have applied the pressure to this home nation making their Paralympic debut.
I think we can expect
Japan
respond? To go on the attack.
So first throw each way in this second half. When that ball is in play, the clock keeps running down. It's only when it blocked out that does the clock stop. And it's young Minwan with 3 of the 4 goals to his name. Leaves the ball to the experienced side, Changhui. A very slow, more deliberate technique that he uses. Each player has their own style and technique they like to use. There's a variety of styles, what works for them. Most of the players will also mix it up and choose their different types of angles. As you mentioned, trying to get through the pockets and break through those gaps and find that little bit of a corridor of uncertainty between the 2 players to breach their defense. First minute done in the second half. Still no goals in the second half. Japan know that they've got to up their offense.
Superman-style block there from Sano Yuto, the 21-year-old top scorer for Japan going into this match. Not able to find the net yet.
Ball just bouncing, and it bounces over and in. Japan get one back.
That is jubilation right there for Miyajiki Koji. A big unit in the center of the court, spinning down, finding room on that the right wing for China, and clawing one back for Japan.
He generated so much bounce. Everyone's watching that ball. Is it going to land in the neutral area? It did. And then on the next bounce after that was just able to breach and get over the top of China. So difficult to read how high that ball is bouncing as well.
When the ball's in the air, those bells go quiet. You don't know if the ball's going up or coming down.
How did China respond to that? They have the advantage by 3 goals still. Young goes from the outside in 1.5 meters. Just find that angle between the left wing and the centre. And Miyajiki moves himself all the way over to the right-hand side of the court. Can't quite get his trajectory right. As he releases that ball as well, he does kind of get his hand over the ball if he wants to get the bounce on it. But also shapes it around, bringing his hand inside, and just gets the ball moving across the court. That courtside assistant's just getting rid of any moisture on the floor. 10 minutes left on the clock in this second half. This knockout stage, the quarterfinals of the Paralympics. A place in the semi-finals up for grabs. It's Japan 1, China 4.
Well, for those who can see it, that 9-meter wide goal just looks bigger and bigger as the game goes on. And yet, it's so hard to get the ball in.
Both these two teams so well drilled defensively. Great take by Yu in the central position there, diving to his right-hand side, taking that ball high, and a strong attack. All 3 of the Japanese players there.
They just need to watch their time here. So the number 8 choosing, a little bit of poor communication there, but the number 8 choosing to put the ball out of play. So that would be a ball over down to China. Means that the ball just goes down to the end of the court rather than surrendering a penalty when it would be 1-on-1 for a time penalty. So good thinking there.
All the Japanese team putting their body on the line, gathering over on their right-hand side post to stop that ball coming through. Sai goes down the angle again from the left to right. Japan just starts to target the right-hand side a little bit more now. The age of Sai Changhui has the experience. And just putting the chest into the ball there from Yu.
Just seeing that the Chinese wingers have swapped. So Sai Jianghui going over onto the left. And we will see.
So it's a penalty there. Against
long ball.
Yang Mingwan, yeah. Ball not landing in either of the neutral zones in the centre. So opportunity here for Sano. He's going to attack down the right-hand side. And it is saved by the legs of Yang Mingwan. The big number 3 set himself on the left-hand side slightly.
It's like he knew that was coming down that line, and that will have been from hours of studying the penalty taking of Sano Yuto. 5 scored so far in this tournament for Japan. Not successful there, though, and it was like Yang Minwan knew which side to go for. Put all his eggs in one basket and was rewarded with an omelette.
And it was a goal that was needed for Japan to get the gap back within 2. There's 8 minutes 35 left on the clock. China lead 4-1. But they'll be looking to get another couple of goals onto their tally. How does Japan attack this now? They go down the centre to the legs of Yu.
We've got Young on the right wing now for China. Sai's gone over to the left.
Timeout called. 8 minutes 12 on the clock. A change of tactics here for Japan potentially.
On the start sheet in goalball, it has to be the only sport where you see staff written in. It's the only team position where you're known as the staff. Todo Ai for Japan with the water bottles there. Chung Chue-wen for China. Very Downton Abbey.
Let's have a look then what Japan do. The messages put across to them. China laying out very high on the line there. The two wingers very high up alongside you in the central position. And that ball just does come between the two of Young and Yu, but is able to be snuffled out and the power taken away. Jiki whipping that ball through. He got extra pace on it, but a penalty. The ball not landing in the neutral zone. It's a long ball, so now Japan have to defend.
Yeah, Miyake, one of the taller players for Miyajiki, one of the taller players for Japan, but it's all ears now to try and work out which way Young will be putting this ball. Over on the right wing.
Starts on the right wing, goes, switches across the left-hand side, and it's a 5th goal for China. So 5-1, 4 goals, a deficit. A big challenge now thrown down to this young Japanese squad. Sai Changui generating the power this time. Very deceptive in his action. Debut back in 2006. And then competed in his first Paralympics in 2008, where the Chinese team, alongside Chen Liang in the squad here today, were victorious.
Get the feeling that Japan are trying to up the pace as the clock ticks down. A goalball clock ticking down, showing how many seconds are left rather than how many seconds have been played. 7 minutes 15 to go.
Yeah, Japan play a very fast game. There you see Young just having a squeeze of the ball. And the ball must not be disformed in any way when they are releasing it, but just releasing, giving it a squeeze. It always get a bit of purchase on his fingers. So you see the tape around his right hand as he holds that ball, turns, and then delivers a thunderous blow from right to left. Blocked out, though, by Japan.
When you have big players on court, it's difficult to gauge size, but it is the size of a basketball, just a little bit bigger. There's the cry of a 36-year-old man. 38.
He's holding his own. He won't back down for a challenge.
So, yeah, a little equipment check coming on the court there. Again, just making sure that there's no moisture, none of the sweat's gone onto the playing surface, because wearing the eye shades, our athletes have no idea if where they're going to put their feet is somewhere that could cause, you could twist your ankle, you could slip over, you know, everything needs to be as safe as possible when you're playing a sport that has its athletes in eye masks. You'll see them also stop play if the tape comes up off the line and if an athlete has a shoelace untied as well. Anything that could cause injury being spotted by our 2 referees, one on either side of the court.
Yamaguchi and Kaneko on the bench, poised, ready. Anytime the coach says they want to get back into the action as well. Good defense again by Yu. As always, just going quietly around his role. Very understated, underrated position.
Yuto's come over to the left wing for Japan. Sano Yuto goes back over to his right-hand side.
That ball deflected out.
So the players swap positions because it's a variety of shots, and the opposition know who's throwing the ball at them by the way they hear it coming down, by the approach.
This is the reason for the tactics or distraction. The footsteps, the hand claps, the noise they make. Another angled shot this time. Side goes from the left to right. He starts to up his pace as well now on his delivery, but also changing the angle, coming to attack. Each team had just over 70 attempts on goal. And that ball's just squeezed underneath.
So
the experienced side comes up. Quickly back the action, seeing whether they can catch Sai out of position.
In a situation like that, a slow-moving ball is just as dangerous as a fast one because it's so hard to hear heading towards the goal line, where it's got to cross in its entirety.
Another fast bouncing ball, and it squeezes through. It bounced inside, split the defense. Japan 2, China 5.
And it's the number 8, Miyajiki Koji. It sets another bouncer on the way down and finds that little gap in the pocket, the number 3 spot on the goal, and a number 2 goal for the left winger for Japan. They're getting back into this match, but do they have enough time?
Well, timeout called for China now. They've not yet made any changes. They have a good solid bench behind them with the experience of Chen Liang and also the duo of Lai Langyu and also Hu Mingyao, who've all scored goals in this competition and can do a job for them. It's that bouncing ball that's twice defeated this Chinese defense. We need more of that if we are to go to extra time, even extra throws here in the knockout stages, should the game be tied after all of the extra time has been played.
But we're not there yet.
Long way to go still, 5 minutes on the clock. Oh, there's a response you wanted from China. Straight down the right-hand side, 6-2.
Yang Mingyang, absolute peach of a ball, smooth, hitting the surface, and then rolling past the despairing arms of Miyajiki. He's gone from elation to despair in just a few seconds.
The perfect response from China, the 5th goal for Young. Every question they've been asked by this Japanese team has been answered. Victorious 9-3 in 2018, 8-3 in 2019, and now leading 6-2 in a Paralympic quarter-final match. Oh, he snuck through the defense. Another bouncing ball, this time for Miyajiki. It's 3-6.
There was an element of take that about that. A bouncing ball again, and he found the gap this time in the probably number 5 pockets of Miyajiki. Really desperate to try and get Japan back on par with China. It's such a great match, and we've got another timeout called here.
So Young was diving with his feet to his left-hand side. Sai was coming into his right-hand side with his feet. And that ball just split that defense and nestled in the back of the net. Now, last time we saw a timeout straight after a goal for Japan, China stepped up and delivered another brutal blow against Japan. Will we see that here again?
We have a 45-second timeout. You'll hear the beeper, which then means you've got 15 seconds to get your substitutes and your management back into the technical area. If you don't, that can be a team penalty. But you'll find that a lot of players start their run-up before we hear the whistle when the play actually restarts. So let's see what Young will do here.
Yeah, the shot clock starts as soon as the block has been made. So
he's got no rush. They're ahead.
That ball deflected out high and wide to the right-hand side off the legs of the Japanese defence. So Japan survived that scare post-timeout. And then deliver a shot down the right-hand side, just bounces wide. So Japan looking to go uncharted territory and score more goals against China than they have done before in elite competitions. As we hit this floor, dried up of any moisture on there. Tense atmosphere here in the Makuhari Messi Hall on quarterfinals action on day 7 of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
Chinese bench constantly moving, ready to come on at any opportunity.
Kawashima, who's come on to defend the number 9 for Japan, has just settled it down a little bit for them. Good defense by Sai on the left-hand side for China. There's a trap between his legs. Beautiful take.
Feet like hands.
That's that one, an inch higher, or his legs spread an inch wider, and that ball's sneaking through for another goal for China. They go down the right-hand side, quickly reacted, again down the left-hand side for Japan, just sails wide and out of play. Let's see where Sai attempts. Is he going to go back down the line? Yeah, that slower ball down the left-hand center. It's almost like a cat and mouse game. Where is he going to go? What kind of shot is he going to play again? Yeah, such variety for such an experienced player.
A bird-like call there from Japan. Some of these could be signals to their own team, as well as distraction.
Yeah, all teams and countries have their own kind of coding of how they play. Otherwise, it'd be too easy for the opposition to hear what they're going to do.
Had a bit of singing earlier in the group stages.
Oh, it snuck in. It got a bounce off the fingertips of Sai and into the top corner. It is goal number 4 for Japan.
Miyajiki's having an absolute stormer in this second half and will be delighted with the way that took out Sai Chu-Guan. Zhangui, and it really is just such a power play from the young 26-year-old. Talent spotted into the sport, and Japan are very welcome that he is in, or very glad that he is now in this national squad.
Whoever spotted him, give that man a prize. Huge talent, and he goes again, trying to take down and bully the 38-year-old 4-time Paralympian. But Sai Zhangui is not to be beaten this time. Japan got to be quick here, getting this one away with Sanayuto, that 21-year-old. It's a very young team for Japan, developing a brand of goalball unique to themselves. Quick and responsive, tries to take out Sai on the left-hand side of the Chinese goal. 2 minutes on the clock.
He looks like he's throwing a slow ball here, but there's always a bit of weight behind it, which makes it deceptive as well from Sai.
Timeout called for Japan. 4-6. Just teamwork and defense needed for China. All they need to do is just keep blocking that ball out. The pressure is now on Japan. The clock starts to tick down. 2 minutes, 10 seconds is a long time in goalball. Remember, every time the ball goes out of play, and the clock is stopped. Japanese staff there also helping with clearing any moisture up. The ball is in their hand.
They also need to continue playing nice, clean goalball, not giving any penalties away, not trying too hard, lifting the ball and giving away long ball or high ball penalties. So far, so good on that front.
So Zhangui just settling himself down, angles that ball slightly to the right-hand side, but snapped up by the legs of Kawashima. A goal here for Japan would make it a showstopper of a final minute and a half in this men's quarter-final match. But Young has other ideas as he loads up one down the right-hand side. Just goes wide. He's had success down that side before. His height really does help propel that speed through. The roll of his shoulders. Miyajiki quickly moving over to the right-hand side. They go down the line, offside, and he tips it onto the post. So close.
Sticks his hands up for an eye shade check as well, because that's dislodged his eye shade in the effort to stop that ball going in, and just fingertip enough to pop it on that goalpost. And that's all it takes to push it one way, the right way, as far as he's concerned, around that upright. Sai Changwei lost his sight after suffering a bout of measles at the age of 3.
After all players here with a variety of visual impairments, and to make it a level playing field in this game, that's why they all wear the special shades, and are checked by the referees each time.
Quite a bit of Paralympic hardware in his house as well, because his wife has got 2 silver medals from representing the People's Republic of China at the Paralympic Games.
So we have a substitution coming here for Japan. Sanyo departs. Yamaguchi's going to be making his way on. The 24-year-old has 4 goals in the competition so far.
And that means that all of the Japanese squad have taken to the court. They need to find a few more goals if their Paralympic Games competition is going to continue. Yamaguchi was formerly a baseballer.
Beat baseball, yep. 4 goals from 48 throws, 1 every 10-ish. Has he got enough time here to break the deadlock? We go down the right-hand side, almost that bounce. But Sai Changwei just gets the hit. Sai Changwei then departs the team for China.
Can rest his weary bones.
And it's going to be Yu Mingyao to come on. Was a member of the 2016 team in Rio when they finished 7th. He's also competed in the World Championships with them since 2014, and they finished 7th both times. But China looking to raise their finishing position here. Success here puts them into the semi-final, so a top 4 spot will be guaranteed. Guaranteed to compete for a medal.
Got his eye shade strap nice and comfortable now, making his way over to the left wing for China.
Japan quickly back. They know that time is limited, but because of that pressure, a penalty comes their way.
Long ball called. So Yamaguchi's going to have to defend his long ball, skipping out that neutral zone.
This could be the fatal blow for Japan.
It's come very high up in defence. Oh.
Too hot to handle. 7-4.
He moved himself right up onto the edge of his landing zone, right on the border of the neutral zone. Was almost in the right position, but that ball was coming like a rocket from China.
Another goal for the Mean Machine of Young Minghuan. And has that goal been the one that secures a semi-final spot for China here in Tokyo? That wide ball from the left to the right, pushed out and blocked out with 44 seconds. China will just use all the time that they have each time, those 10 seconds. Just run them down, slow that clock down. Japan will react differently. Quickly they go back to Miyajiki, who whips that ball down the line, saved nicely to his left-hand side by the 26-year-old.
Time is not their friend now. Time is not their friend at all for Japan. They're unlikely to get any penalties called, and there's just not enough time for them to continue in this Paralympic Games competition.
It has been a fantastic performance right from the start for China. Solid in the defense, led by their number 2, their 38-year-old four-time Paralympian, Sai Changwei. But it has been young Ming Huan with the most of the goals, 4 goals and a penalty to his name. It has been another victory going the way of China. Japan yet to defeat them in high-level competition. It's their first meeting in the Paralympic Games.
It's getting closer between the two of the sides. And youth not able to outwit experience today.
Japan have shown themselves to be one of the best teams in the competition, with wins against Algeria 13-4, that 11-1 mercy defeat of USA.
That was a shocker.
Great game as well.
Absolutely brilliant.
Losing out to Brazil 8-3, and then that final win against Lithuania 10-2. So China have found a way to defend and stop this young team scoring goals. And that's what they needed to do. That was their game plan, to shut them out to start with and plug away. Japan haven't scored more than 7 goals in this competition. Oh, sorry, more than 8 goals in this competition in any one game. So they're averaging their average of goals scored, but it's where they've done defensively and how well they've stopped this attack coming at them from Sano and from Kanika, especially that first half, has really given China the confidence to go into the semi-finals.
China running down the clock here. Yeah, we heard a big loud bang there. So the referees have called a stop for a noise, but no penalties have been given.
We see that ball being manipulated as that clock runs down. No need to throw it. The job has been done. A place in the semi-finals. The first time they've been there since 2008 goes to the People's Republic of China as they defeat Japan in this quarterfinal match, 7-4.
China consistently strong from the first whistle in this match, peppering down powerful and intelligent goal shooting opportunities, and they just were the stronger side on the day. Japan so nimble and quick in defence, but absolutely desolate that at their home Paralympic Games, on their debut, they won't be progressing in this competition.
Sporting spirit being shown by both teams here as they line up and face each other. A lot of respect in the games that they played together. Heartbreak for Miyajiki with his 4 goals. He didn't have enough in his locker to defeat this strong, experienced Chinese team who go forward into the semi-finals for the first time since 2008 in the Paralympics. The last time they were there, they carried on and went and take gold in Beijing. How they would love to do that here in Tokyo at the 2020 Paralympic Games. So there's the result, 7-4. And it was in control all the way. The bow of the Japanese to the press as they make their way off the court for the final time here in the Paralympics with their heads held high, as the performances they've shown in the whole of the group stages here have made people look at what this Japanese goalball team is all about.
They have left everything out on the court. Those tears, the emotion absolutely pouring out of these players after absolutely magnificent highs in this tournament at Tokyo 2020. But those who can see the face of Miyagi Koji can see what this means to the men of Japan.
Let's have a look at the stats then, and it's the only one at the top that counts for China, 7-4. Even on the throws, it was a fairly even game, very defensive for both teams. How Japan just speeded the game up with their attacks, then China just slowed it down, and that kind of frustrated them a little bit in the way that they played. And as you saw there, Miyajiki on the floor, because his team will not be taking part anymore in this competition, and through to the semi-finals. The first team to qualify for the semi-finals is China.
And they will take on the next team to play, the next teams, whoever can get the better of each other between the United States and Ukraine.
That will be a great battle as well. Different styles of goalball techniques in both those two teams as well. But both teams here in this quarterfinal match from Japan and China giving it everything and left nothing on that court as they walk away. Japan rejected, but China elated as they are victorious 7-4. So here at the Makahari Messe Hall, the first quarterfinal match has been completed, and it saw the head-to-head of the #1 team in their group, Japan, taking on the 4th team in Group B, taking on China. And it didn't go the way of the form books, with Japan only losing 1 game in the group stages. When it came to the knockout stages, it was China who were victorious. They took the game to Japan, both offensively and defensively, and came out victorious in this quarterfinal match, 7-4.
Experience triumphing over youth in the end, and the Chinese players who, between them, have attended numerous Paralympic Games, using that experience to get the better of Japan, who have only just begun their Paralympic Games journey. We've seen the way the game will be changing in the future with younger, faster, stronger players. Japan can walk away from this tournament with their head held high.
While China continue through to the semi-finals with this victory here against Japan, 7-4.
Ladies and gentlemen, check out some historic moments on the cover of the Tokyo 2020 times for Day 6.
皆様、それではここで昨日のパラリンピック6日目のハイライトをご覧いただきましょう。
It's about the man who's going to win it in world record time and take his first gold medal of these games. It is Ami Umerdadon who touches first. She's driving to the wall. The battle is for silver and bronze. Who's going to take it? But in world record time, it is Ludom, 37.18, claims the title, just ahead of Semene Oster, who brings Turkey into the medal standing. Looking good for Can Yuyan Splinky. It is going to be Can who wins the gold medal ahead of Turner. He is absolutely propelling himself with power. He's going to smash his own world record as he comes in ahead of Ruan. Kian Rocky is going to reach his 16th gold medal in world record time. He comes home to smash his own world record.
First London, then Rio, and now here in Tokyo. Curling fans on, what a champion, 3 consecutive Paralympic table tennis titles. What a champion.
82.085, outperforming expectation here, Sanavert and Demonteur. Michelle Georges is Paralympic champion with 80.590 and best of 8, no doubt about it. This is a very exciting young man in the sport, 21 years old, making his Paralympic debut and going straight in with a gold. The most decorated athletes in the sport, been riding right the way through since Sydney in 2000. Celine Pearson and Teresa Braker. Foxy Trouble takes double gold with Dalton on 86.927.
Higgins on the fast break, and boom, just like that, a strong fourth quarter
server.
China winning their second game and winning it by 5 goals. Here they go, 4-3. Dennis has attacked from the right-hand side. That left-hand bouncing ball splitting, and now USA lead for the first time.
Struck and in! Zhu Ming gets the reward for his persistence. Jorginho is standing again! Oh, it's just sensational.
Now Sneasler, who goes a goal and again finds the net. Morocco well and truly in charge. Espanilo is away on his own there. Can he finish it off? He can. Argentina claim victory.
China have done enough here against the European champions. It goes down to
感じた。中国に勝ったことほぼないんですよ。で、要は AP とかずっと中国から北京に行くだけなんですけど、 ないじゃん。ああ。中国はそれだけでも救ってますから。全員プロアスリートなんですよ。ゴールボールパラリンピックがコースにあって、それ365日。
And it's gone long. There are your gold medalists. United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the athletes for men's quarterfinal game, Ukraine against USA!
それでは男子準々決勝、ウクライナとアメリカ合衆国の選手の皆さんをお迎えください。
The start list for this game.
先発メンバーは
Representing Ukraine!
ウクライナ代表
Number 1, Vasil Olinik! Number 2, Anton Strelcher! Number 3, Vitaly Poponenko! Number 4, Yevgeny Tsigalenko! Number 5, Rodion Prihalin! And number
So we have arrived at the knockout stage of the Goalball at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. 10 countries qualified to play in Japan in the men's draw on the greatest stage for Goalball. At the start of the day we had 8. By the end of play on day 7, just 4 teams will be left. So no pressure today then. Japan, the first team to exit in the quarter-finals, beaten 7-4 by the People's Republic of China, who take that first spot in the semi-finals, where they will await the winner of our next match. Ukraine facing the United States and already out and warming up. So Goalball is a game played by the visually impaired, unlike any other.
For 75 years, this sport has been designed, and since 1976, it has made its debut in the Paralympics. As we see the results for the USA there, with 2 losses to their name, and both of those losses were mercy victories, as in defeated by by 10 goals. Victories though against Brazil and also Algeria are strong victories. And this game, Goalball, played for those that are visually impaired to make it a level playing field, and all of the competitors will have their eye shades on to make it nice and even.
A 9-metre wide goal covering the surface there as we look at the results for Ukraine making their Paralympic debut in Tokyo 2020, beating the European champions Germany 11-5. That'll be right on top of their enjoyment list from Tokyo so far. Defeat to the People's Republic of China, who they could face next if they beat the States. Victory over Belgium. A very tight defeat by the men from Turkey. So far, 2 of the 6-man squad of the Ukraine have yet to take to the court. All the work being done by 4 players, because only 3 players at a time will be on that playing surface, defending that 9-metre goal and looking to score as many as possible opposite. So the sides, even Stevens, in the group stages, both played 4-1-2. And both sides looking to progress into the semi-finals at the Paralympic Games. The USA have won gold in the past, way back in the 1980s, 1984 in New York. Silver medals in Rio, Seoul, and back in 1980, and a bronze at Athens 2004. Ukraine looking to begin their Paralympic Games medal haul as they warm up by slamming that ball into the net. The ball has to travel through the landing zones, the neutral zones. Got to make contact at the other end. We have 2 referees, Warwick Jacks of Australia and Vaida Požvytė of Lithuania. And you see behind them the table with the timers on. We have 10-second timers, 1 for each team, making sure that the teams have possession for 10 seconds and 10 seconds only. We'll have a goal judge on each corner of the posts, so 4 of those. And our match referees with their microphone headsets will be one either side of the playing surface to let the players and those who may be in a little dark about the rules of this game know exactly what's happening and why the whistle's gone. We also have buzzers and hooters to let know that the hooter sounds a bit like a strangled duck to tell us that there has been a team penalty infringed. And we have the buzzer to let the players know what time has elapsed at various stages of this warm-up procedure.
The court itself is a 18-metre by 9-metre court, divided into 3 on each half. In the goal side, it is the orientation area, as we see the USA team just going through their defensive preparations, feeling the lines as those lines are raised with a piece of string underneath, as everybody has their eye shades on. The second section, where the 2 gentlemen are standing for USA, is the landing zone. And then the middle 2 sections of the court are known as the neutral area. When bowling this ball underarm, the ball must bounce in both the landing area and one of the neutral zones to qualify as a good throw. Otherwise, then our referees will be calling for a long ball or a high ball. But we'll explain that as and when that happens in the game.
So we take a look at our team list. We'll have our starting 3 confirmed very shortly. But I I bet my bottom dollar it could be number 5, number 7, and number 1 for Ukraine. Alexander Topakov and Vasil Oleinik have played every minute of this competition in Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games so far. And number 5, Rodion Zakhalin, only substituted off for 8 minutes of the game. We're taking a look at the big man, Callahan Young, known as Calzone by friends because he likes pizza and he's always in the zone. He's scored 13 goals so far for the USA. 26 years old, and he is 2 meters tall. That's 6'7" in old money. And his reach probably means he can cover at least a third of that 9-meter wide net. He's joined in the USA team with some fair heritage from the sport. Tyler Merrin at his 4th Paralympic Games. He's got a silver and 2 bronzes to his name. Silver and a bronze, sorry, from the Paralympics, a bronze world medal as well from the World Championships. But we have some rookies as well. Zach Buehler at 24 years old, making his debut for the squad. As we take a look at Alexander Topakov, the number 7, playing in the centre for Ukraine, 30 years old, 7 goals. You don't often see a big goal tally from the players in the centre of defence in goalball, but they are partial to a throw or 2.
So the two teams are just going through their final preparations. You've seen the lineup for USA go through their final preparations of John Kusku, Callahan Young and Matt Simpson, number 7, starting for USA. As mentioned, 1, 5 and 7, the go-to starting lineup for the Ukraine team, who set the world alight in the first game against Germany, taking away the gold medalists from the European Championships, who they came second to back in 2019, where they defeated Germany 11-5. Since then, goals have slowed down slightly for them. They were victorious 4-2 against Belgium. Went out to a very low-scoring game against Turkey. Just the 1 goal in it. It's the only game in this whole Paralympic Games only had 1 goal. And then just the 3 against China. But they qualified second in their group. And in Group B, all teams finished on 6 points, all with 2 wins, 2 losses. It was quite an incredible pool stage there. But on goal difference, they were second, which is why they've ended up playing one of the most decorated teams in men's goalball here in Team USA.
I was absolutely delighted not to be doing the maths on that particular group. My fingers and toes didn't run that far. Matt Simpson for the USA, another legend of the sport, silver in Rio 5 years ago. You can see his eyes have a gauze patch over them. All the players have their eyes taped over, and then a eye shade will be placed over, and we can see the starting 3 for the USA ready for their eye shade check. That buzzer signalling we have 90 seconds before play will get underway. Rodion Zakhalin, 11 goals from 180 throws so far. That's a good return. He'll be looking to make every throw count for his country as they start writing the Paralympic Games history for Ukraine in goalball. So number 4, John Kusku, number 6, Callahan Young, and number 7, Matt Simpson, the starting 3 for the USA. You'll see John Kusku in the centre, and Callahan Young and Matt Simpson flanking him on the wings. The referee just checking those eye shades to check for damage, to make sure there's no light, there's no possibility of any players being able to see. And once these eye shade checks are complete, the players must not touch them until they are substituted off or we get to the end of the half. Warwick Jacks happy with that. He's heading down to get ready for play as we count down the final few seconds of this warm-up time. And we'll hand it over to him to explain what happens next. It's the second quarter-final in the men's goalball at Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. Ukraine versus USA.
This game is between Ukraine on my left and USA on my right. I remind all spectators to turn their mobile phones off and to remain quiet while the ball is in play. Ukraine start with the ball. Quiet, please.
So welcome to the Makuhari Messe Hall in Tokyo for the second of the men's quarter-final matches in the Goalball. Ukraine getting underway against USA.
First ball going as a ball over there when they defend the ball. If it does bounce over that centre line, then it means USA do not get a chance to have another throw. It's the ball directly back in the hands of Ukraine to attack again.
Rodion Zahalin getting the ball back in play for Ukraine. 11 goals so far in this tournament.
So in that save for Kusku on the left-hand side of his court, he's reached up and just knocked his shades off. So the referee from Australia will just get those shades placed back on.
All checked, ready to go. Callahan Young moving in towards the centre of the United States playing area, and he bins that one down over to the left wing of Ukraine. Crosses over the halfway line, but regathered by Rodion Zahalin, who puts a spinal rotational shot with some bounce in, and that's gathered by Young. Topokov handing it back to Zahalin. This 1.25 kilogram ball with the bells in, making it so the players can locate it. And those bells sounding quite feisty today. Sometimes they're a little quiet. The ball blocked out there by John Kusku over on the left wing at present for the United States.
Yeah, very contrasting styles here. Ukraine very disciplined, with Topokov in that central position, where USA have been mixing up quite a lot with who they've had in the centre and also where they're attacking from.
Topokov looks pretty meditative at times, sitting on his central mark, using his fingers to, as Callahan Young is there, to find his position and make sure that he's located exactly where he needs to be, blocking as much of the court as possible. That's a little probing shot by Oleinik. 7 goals scored in Tokyo so far. Callahan Young bins that back the other way. Bit of a bouncer.
And the ball goes over on the defence. They couldn't quite get it back, so anytime across the halfway line or on the outside of the court on the neutral zone, the ball goes over. USA changing the tempo up in their game as well.
Matt Simpson fancying his chances there, going cross-court from the American right wing to the right wing of Ukraine. But it's safely gathered. And as often happens in the early stages of these matches, the players getting a feel for the court, getting a feel for the ball, and just testing the confidence of their opposition.
All three of the American attackers mixing it up a little bit with the flat balls, the bouncing balls, the angles, the trajectory as well. Kind of almost playing cat and mouse with their opposition.
Oleinik trying to sneak the ball back to the right wing without the Americans knowing, but strong in defence. As that one goes back across court from Kusku to Zahalin, 36 years old.
Callahan Young had to be at full stretch to his left-hand side there. Just get the fingertips of the ball there. That ball just skimming around the outside of the post. The speed generated by all 6 of these is really going to put the pressure on the opposition.
But so far, both teams strong in defence. That one goes up in the air, and that is in the back of the net for the USA. The danger and goal ball is when that ball gets off the playing surface, ricocheting off the stomach, the abs of Alexander Torpakov, and the power put in by Matt Simpson lifted it into the net.
There's a challenge there of that not actually going in his landing area as well, which is very close. Ukraine placing their hands up there, but that ball did bounce high and over.
Ukraine 0, USA 1. Just over 9 minutes to play in this first half as the clock counts down. Kusku. Blocked out by Topokov. He'll be annoyed that his rock-hard abs put that one in the back of the net. Callahan Young goes back down the centre. Again in the air, but this one safely gathered by the Ukrainians. Zahalin going down the line. That'll be a ball over.
It's the pressure that they're not just softening the ball into their chest, they're going hard against it, trying to get that ball just to stop solid and stop it deflecting off their hips, which is why they're going into their defensive positions quite hard.
Olieniuk goes cross court. And Simpson changes. Oh, and slips, tries to get the ball delivered over on the left wing. Comes over from the right, but as he's spinning, he goes down. He's all right. He's repositioned himself in defence, but there's a lot less on that ball than he hoped. Cal Young. Nice to hear good communication between the American side here.
They work very hard at Fort Wayne, Indiana, in their setup they've got in this goalball program.
10 seconds to replay the ball. Safely done. Blocked out by by Callahan Young. Clock stops when the ball goes out of play. Presented back by the referees. And it's a ball over, so Ukraine take possession.
Ukraine would have watched the last few games of the USA losing 13-3, to know where they'll be wanting to start to attack. They haven't found those pockets, those gaps between getting around the outside of Callahan Young, both on his left or right-hand side, and trying to squeeze it past Kutsku and from Simpson on either side. And that'll be the angles they're looking to break in to this USA defence.
Here's Olieniuk. For Ukraine, underneath the arm of Callahan Young. He went high to try and block the ball, but it slipped under him and into the net. Ukraine have equalised.
Well, maybe they don't need to go around the defence. Maybe they just need to go under it. Works perfectly well. What a goal that is. That much needed time as well for Ukraine. USA have been looking dangerous.
Ukraine won, USA won. 7 minutes, 30 seconds to play in this first half. The second of the men's quarter-finals at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. We're back to the beginning, all square. Just less time on the clock, and that brilliant spin by Callahan Young, forcing a Superman-style reach from Rodion Zahalin. Kushku picks the ball up on the left wing, takes it over to the right. Toporkov's legs halt that ball's progress. Olieniuk goes between his teammates. Just testing that right-hand corner of the USA's goal. And it's replied back on the diagonal from the USA. Olieniuk again. Different angle of approach.
Ukraine started to stretch that central defence now. They've been targeting the first few minutes right into the chest and the gut area of Callahan Young. But now they're starting to switch it around a little bit and stretch the angles more for this defensive, the two wings to overlap and get over towards the post as USA clip the post as well.
Powerful shot down, denied and out of play, thanks to the goalpost. Zahalin putting the rotational shot in, the players discus-like, using energy by spinning to send it down their arm and put some extra pep on the ball as it makes its way down the playing surface. Vasil Olieniuk between his two teammates on the left wing. Kushku blocks, Callahan Young gathers and sends it back the other way. So just misses. 6 minutes played, 6 minutes to go. Ukraine won, USA won.
KG battle, USA not in their flow. They are mixing their pace up as well. They are throwing back. They are responding very quickly on that defense as well, trying to keep Ukraine on their toes.
That's a fourth ball over from the USA, so handing possession over to Ukraine. 4 times so far in the match. Effectively another free shot at goal, but successfully blocked so far. Callahan Young communicating, that's Kusku calling for the ball.
The harder they go at that defence, the more the ball moves away, so the less time they've got to get that throw in as well. Good trap between the legs by Simpson.
Real skills. There's a lot of work gone into the gym to make those legs strong enough to stop a ball coming at over 40 miles an hour. We've seen some talented toes in Tokyo.
These players quite literally putting their body on the line for a place in the semi-final.
Oh, that was a beautiful, smooth underarm bowling shot from Callahan Young, trying to keep the ball as quiet as possible as it made its progress down the court, but Ukraine well positioned in defence. Just look at that, smoothing, not a flicker of a bounce as it went down the court. High ball call though. So, one-on-one, Callahan Young has to defend it, he does, but it bounces over. He came right up to the neutral zone line, stopped the ball, but only enough to give it height and into the back of the net.
Young takes so much of the angle of the court away once he moves up so close, but the bounce there, just clipping his hips, it almost took an age for it to drop in. Everyone's watching that ball just sneak under the crossbar. Ukraine lead.
So a pretty looking smooth ball from Callahan Young, but not a legal one. You'll rethink that. Here's Olenyuk. Ukraine 2, USA 1. Less than 5 minutes to play in this first half. Kusku gets the ball down court.
USA have stayed in their positions as they have done this half for the first time in the Paralympic Games. They've been mixing it around quite a lot, but they've been a little bit erratic with some of their results, so they're a bit more structured in their defensive positions here today.
Zahalin. Speed of the turnaround from Callahan Young. Like a cartoon character, his feet not working quickly enough for him. He wanted them to move faster. Kusku goes over to the right. Topakov legs to the left. Stops the ball. Zahalin forcing the block from Callahan Young.
Having a central defender that's almost 2 meters tall and with his outstretched arms taking almost a third of that court does make it a little bit easier for the wing attackers, wing defenders, where they're going to take their positions. But also, it can be quite dangerous as well, especially with the bounce.
And we've seen that already. The leg stop by Callahan Young, positioned right on the orientation line. The cross-court white line that has the string in it. It's the preferred defensive position for Callahan Young. It's John Kusku just tucked behind him. We've got a substitution coming up for the USA. So John Kusku comes off, making way for Darryl Walker.
It's another substitution that USA do here quite a lot. Kusku, not necessarily a big scorer of the game, but he does defend really well. Bringing in now Darryl Walker, who's got a few goals to his name so far, will also defend on that left-hand side. I wouldn't be surprised if the USA team didn't start mixing around where their defensive patterns are now when Walker comes on.
Yeah, we could see Callahan Young on the roam. Third Paralympic Games for Darryl Walker. 4 games, 4 goals in the 4 games. Playing for the United States. Got married this year as well. Surely his wife, Melissa, is back home in the States cheering her husband on. He's also a yoga instructor by trade. That's a great effort by Callahan Young. But Olenyuk laying out and blocking the ball down the centre, just to the right-hand wing of the United States. Matt Simpson coming over to the left.
That's where Simpson had success in that goal that he scored round to his left-hand side. But driving this ball to the angle as well, trying to break the pockets of this Ukrainian defence.
That one's up in the air, but goes slightly forward, so Olenyuk can gather it safely.
Olenyuk really patient with his defence there. Knew the ball was up high, moved himself back, just allowed the ball to bounce in front of him so he could work out where it was, and then able to just make that defence on the second attempt.
These players have built-in shot clocks. They know how long 10 seconds is. They know when they need to pick up the pace or when they have enough time to just compose themselves before a shot. Callahan Young's feet really slipping on that surface when he's trying to get that 2 metre tall, 6'7" of him, trying to get back upright after lying prone on the court. As Matt Simpson stops the ball.
It's so physically demanding, lying down there, doing that defensive position, then to get up and to get the whereabouts to get your shot away in such a short amount of time.
And all while you are blindfolded. So anyone who's tried to stand on their leg or turn around with their eyes closed may have a tiny fraction of an idea of what it's like to play goalball. The exact opposite of dodgeball, these players want to be hit by the ball to stop it going in the nets as Ukraine hydrate. Plenty of fluids going in for this starting three, who've played the lion's share of the goalball for Ukraine at the tournament. And a quick chat for the USA as the coaching team leaves the playing surface. Well, tactical talk, speaking in code, they understand it. Zahalin. Lots of energy coming from the USA.
They're a very vocal team when they were playing their game against Brazil. There's a big rivalry between USA and Brazil in goalball as well. And every throw, every block was cheered, supported on, guided through as well.
Opening game of the group stage for the USA. First time they'd beaten Brazil in 5 years. And boy, did they celebrate that. Callahan Young just not able to get to that ball. So another ball over for Ukraine. 2 throws on the bounce. 5 handed over now from the United States.
Ukraine really trying to find the outside of the court line. But when they're rotating, it's so hard just to keep that ball going down the line they want without it drifting just a little bit out of court. Walker sneaks to his right-hand side of the court, whips that low ball in flat. Good defense by Ukraine.
It's Ukraine 2, USA 1. 1 minute, 20 seconds left on this first half. And that is another goal just as you give a score. Ukraine up the score once more. Rodion Zahalin going right across court.
Yeah, that whip from left to right-hand side, the angle just breaching out of reach where Walker was defending. Full stretch into the side netting as well. That's a really crucial goal for Ukraine, leading in to this almost 1 minute 20 left in the first half.
It was an almost casual delivery from Rodion Zahalin, but the ball carrying plenty of momentum and just into that left-hand corner of the net to establish a 2-goal lead for Ukraine as the court is just given a little bit of a wipe down.
Walker tries to make amends as he whips that ball from the left-hand side, just 1.5 meters in. But Topokov doing what he does best. That 30-year-old for Ukraine, passing his ball back over. Good block by USA.
Simpson comes over to the left. It's a bouncer, smothered up by Topokov. Gives it back to Zahalin as we're into the last minute of this first half. Another penalty given away by Callahan Young there. He was trying to get up fast, put some real speed into the ball, but he lifted it up when it didn't need to be lifted. And now he has to face the penalty. 1-on-1 against Olienik of Ukraine. Who goes wide? He misses a chance to extend their lead. Wide of the USA on the right-hand side.
Yeah, Callahan Young staying on his goal line this time, waiting to get that late reaction. But the penalty never looking safe or in control from Ukraine.
Compliment to the USA, though, that Olienik felt he had to go for the angles. Just a little bit too wide. Less than 30 seconds to go now in the first half. The second men's quarter-final at Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. The People's Republic of China await the winners of this match. as Olenyuk takes that central position, putting it out to the left wing of the USA. Darryl Walker now in the final 10 seconds. Ooh. Sneaked past Torpakov there.
It was the noise as well. Expression, go quick help.
When that ball goes still, it goes quiet and it's difficult to locate. At half-time, Ukraine lead the USA 3-1.
It's been a solid first half for the Ukraine. They've been rushed around a little bit by USA. As USA are starting to snatch at their quick attacks, apparently by Callahan Young with those 2 penalties when he rushes to get his shot clock off. But the Ukraine just ever so disciplined in their defence. Topakov in that central position, just controlling his team's defence and letting the gentlemen attack. They've been targeting more towards the left-hand side of the American goal, where Walker is now defending. And that's where Kusku was earlier on, breaking that gap and looking for that pocket between Walker and Callahan Young. Let's have a look at the highlights.
I get the feeling somebody's trying to improve the chanting there. These highlights really showing just how skillful some of those goals are going in there. Callahan Young unlucky to let that one go in underneath him, but a penalty brilliantly taken by Ukraine. And the third goal. That's the third goal going in from Zakhalin. Darryl Walker outstretched.
And there we see Walker actually further in court than he needs to be in the starting position, which then meant that corner shot was open. As we look at the stats here, it's the one at the top that counts, the 2 penalties. Obviously, 1 penalty has been scored. The second one was missed by the Ukraine, while Callahan Young stayed on his goal line. There, a few ball overs as well for both teams. But it's been about the pace of the game. Ukraine slow and steady, consistent. USA just mixing up a little bit, and also the angles.
And those ball overs explaining why Ukraine have had more throws than the USA. So we are back to the eye shade check. One of these teams facing an eye shade check at the beginning of a half for the final time at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. We're in the knockout stages. This is a men's quarter-final. One of these teams will play no further part in the tournament at the end of the next 12 minutes, unless it's a draw. At which point we go to extra time with golden goal. And we're not even going to think about extra throws.
It definitely means you're calculating your fingers out for that one.
I think extra pens and highlighters. That tells us half-time is over.
Between Ukraine on my left and USA on my right. The half-time scores: Ukraine 3, USA 1. Half-time substitutions: USA out number 1 in number 4.
So John Kusku returning to the lineup for the USA. Darryl Walker stepping off. 37-year-old John Kusku has run the Boston Marathon in 3 hours and 40 minutes. And it claims he can whistle 3 different ways. But not like that, because that is the whistle to start the match. Callahan Young looking for an early effort there. It's kind of cleared off the line by Olenyuk.
There's a switch in the defence now. Kusku's gone into the centre. Callahan Young out on the left-hand side. So Kusku probably have more of a defensive role now in this second half. As I said, not the biggest goal scorer in the team, but defensively he'll be now controlling that middle.
Callahan Young putting the ball out there, running out of time. Didn't want to pick up a 10-second penalty. That would have been a one-on-one. So just the ball over. A better option if your 10 seconds are ticking down. Matt Simpson. Oh, looking and very close to getting through the gap between Zakhalin and Topakov, but they are so good at just stopping the ball at the last minute.
This is where it's going to be very interesting to see where Ukraine start to attack, because Kusku's very quick to make his move where that went. On that last attack that Ukraine moved the ball across to the right-hand side, Kusku went the other way, so there's a pocket that's opening up between Kusku and Callahan. Callahan's going to have to work extra hard on the left-hand side of the goal for USA now.
And for those who can see, it may look easy, but these athletes are responding to the sound of the ball coming towards them. They only have a fraction of a second to work out quite where the ball is before it smacks them in the body. It could be the face, the hands, it can hit anywhere. So equipment check called by the referee.
USA a little bit rushed in their actions at the moment. Just need to slow and steady this game down. 10:47 on the clock is still a long time in goalball. They've got plenty of time to get back into this. They have seen in the games when they've gone down by a couple of goals, they've just kind of deflated and just tried to do too many things too quick. Just need to slow it down, get a few shots on target and also get some decent blocks in here just to slow the game down and then start to build the pressure on the Ukraine defense again.
Ukraine getting the play back underway. Kusku confidently launching that ball back to Callahan Young. Definitely seems to be having a little problem with traction. That's a full-length Superman block from Kusku. And he throws a long ball. He's just a bit too powerful. He has to face the penalty. So completely skipping the neutral zone.
He was so far forward in the landing zone then as well.
Listening intently. Zahalin has gone wide on the left-hand side. That's two goals that have been begging to be converted for Ukraine that have not found the back of the net. Ukraine 3, USA 1, just coming up to 10 minutes to play in this match.
Both going the opposite way on the attack and the defense on that penalty. There, Ukraine will want to develop and enhance. If they're going to get the opportunities, they've got to take them.
So Callahan Young just looking to see if he can find some way through.
And this is with the change of his action now coming from the centre to the left-hand side. He's now able to get a lot more angle across on that shot cross-court, but also a lot more power down the line and try and find that pocket between the two.
All three Americans are right-handed, so throwing with their right hand. Definitely changes your attitude of attack. As we see Olinyuk test that corner, but again, misses. Out on the right-hand side of the American goal, where it's being regathered by Callahan Young. He's moved in towards the centre.
That's good defense there from Olinyuk with the legs. The ball just getting past the central defender. He was able to keep his legs nice and strong and square, so not let the ball bounce up or over them.
Just slightly off target there. Again, a miss for Callahan Young. Playing at his first Paralympic Games in a team that has a proud history of Paralympic competition. And waiting to react to that bouncer from Zahalin, the 36-year-old from Ukraine. Policy for Ukraine with 9 minutes to go seems to be, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because the same three solidly performing in this competition so far. That's up in the air, though. Oh, brilliant block off the line by Zahalin. Came off Topokov and was right on the line, but the feet of Zahalin keeping it away from the mouth of the goal.
Perfect defense. His feet stopping that ball, having any chance of going back towards the goal.
Goalball played in silence is a great opportunity to hear how a team communicates and to listen to those tiny bells in that ball. So Ukraine have possession. They can call a timeout. 45 seconds to have a little chat. We've seen Yevgeny Sajhenko come on. Played 8 minutes in the tournament, but it doesn't look as though they're going to have a substitution here. Even though the Ukrainian bench are warming up, they're all jumping up and down. Vitaly Kapanenko, Anton Streljic all played their part in helping the team qualify for the Paralympic Games at 2020.
They'll be keen to get on, but also they'll be very keen for the defensive trio at the minute on court to continue doing what they're doing. If it means the semi-final place in their first Paralympic Games, and if it means defeating USA to do that, then that's where the six become a team working together.
So over on the right wing for Ukraine, Vasyl Olejnik. That's a lovely smooth ball back there from John Kusku. Oh, and that is an absolute peach from Ukraine. Vasyl Olejnik finding the gap between Kusku and Callahan Young. Right in the back of the net, right in the centre of the goal.
Getting his hand over the top of that ball to get the bounce going. And that's the angle we talk about, to find that pocket, is to find it. And now that you don't have such a big centre, and you've got Kusku in there, that pocket has opened up a little bit wider from a 3-metre gap going in towards the goal. Really important goal for Ukraine there to lead 4-1 now.
3 goals from 31 throws. That's a good return for Olejnik. Oh, and the USA are right back with Callahan Young finding a little space down on the right-hand side of the Ukrainian goal.
That was pure power. He gave that everything, that 1.96 m frame. Stepping through that ball is almost like knocking the Ukrainian defence line like Skittles. It's so strong.
Gummy breathing there, his gum shield in his mouth, but very hot, hard work out there on that court. Another penalty given away by the United States. Now, Ukraine haven't converted the chances they've been offered so far in this. Yeah, you see the ball absolutely missing the neutral zone there. It's Matt Simpson this time who's going to have to face the music. And he blocks it. What a brilliant save from Matt Simpson.
That was as cool as you like, as calm as you like. He was stood up really high as that ball was coming down and just gently got himself down. Quite nonchalantly turned away going, yeah, now what?
Zahalin really, yeah, I mean, it was almost as if he picked the worst spot to take that penalty. But if the American has positioned himself in the right spot, then he's going to save the ball, and that was a great effort by Matt Simpson. So Ukraine 4, USA 2. Just coming up to 7 minutes to play in this second half.
You can see the tension and the actions building on Team USA here with 7 minutes left to go. They're down by 2. It was a great defense of the penalty, but also what caused the penalty was that rush to get themselves back into the game here. We see Simpson slipping again.
So I think he's, yeah, just another little sweep of the court, because these players are so hot. You can see they're working so hard. Any little bit of moisture or sweat that falls on the playing surface does become a problem if you're rotating and spinning and trying to keep the ball in play. You can hear some support for the USA from the stands. I suspect that could well be from the USA women's team, who have also progressed to the knockout stages of the competition. And they're doing their best to cheer their boys on.
Yeah, both teams progressing, and also they set themselves expectations to finish on the podium. And the programme they've got going in Fort Wayne, Indiana, has been leading to this time, especially with the year's delay of the competition getting underway. There's a high ball dropping over, but great defence coming from the left-hand side. Simpson, how he got behind that ball.
Absolute pop-up over Callahan Young. It looked like it was going in the net, and Simpson just came out of nowhere to stop that ball. Cusco coming off. We see Darryl Walker returning. Can have multiple substitutions on and off the court in goalball. A total of 4 substitutions in the match, but one of those has to be made in the first half. If not, you lose it.
Simpson will stay in his position, where Callahan Young will now move back to the centre, and Walker will take on the left wing defensive duties, nearest to the camera here.
So it's Ukraine 4, USA 2. 6 minutes 40 seconds to play. The clock Counting down, stopped every time the ball goes out of play.
Ukraine seem to be going around this really cool and calmly. They don't seem any stress in their body, any panic. They're just going about their everyday job like it's just a training game at the minute. Put the body on the line.
A little bit of fire and ice, the fire and fury of the United States and the cool, calm demeanour of Ukraine, which is how they've played their goalball in Tokyo 2020. And we could have a dead ball situation here. Nope, crosses over. So that's a ball over to Ukraine.
Interesting change now. Simpson's moved to the middle in the central defensive position. And Callahan Young is far over the right-hand side.
As you were for Ukraine. Zahalin on the left wing. Topokov, absolute rock in the centre. Vasil Olynyk on the right. So that's deflected off the abs of Zahalin. Just a little bit off target. Needs to reorientate himself. Darryl Walker for the USA.
He really gets his hand behind that ball as it's coming down. It's still under arm, but his hand's almost at the back of the ball, pushing that ball through to generate the extra speed.
Massive fan of basketball. Was hoping to be a basketball player, but his vision was a problem. The bright lights of the basketball court didn't help. Made it very painful for him. It's one of the reasons he likes playing goalball, because the eye shades mean that he doesn't have any pain in his eyes. So Callahan Young picks up the ball for the USA, takes it over to the right wing. Oh! And that one is textbook from Callahan Young. He's brought the difference back. It's Ukraine 4, USA 3.
3 bounces and that ball beautifully angled in the pocket between the two defenders. There is no stopping that one. There's a reaction from Keith Young as well. He knows it's only a 1-goal game now. Those penalties missed by Ukraine, are they likely to be costly at the end of this game? Well, USA have got it on them now. It's whether this calmness and this coolness of Ukraine can keep delivering, because they know USA isn't just about scoring. They've got to defend. They've got to defend well, especially with them mixing it up. Ukraine can start picking them off as well.
So much energy being generated by the USA squad. You can see them really hyping themselves up for the final 5.5 minutes of this match. Ukraine remain calm. Topokov looks like he's meditating. Here's Matt Simpson. Unpredictable, the bounce on this ball at times.
Topokov's just dropped back his defensive position slightly.
Another slip for Callahan Young. Oh, and another goal. He's laying them in one after the other, like he probably does in practice.
I like the deliberate slip there as well to put the team off on the defensive duties, then coming in, that right arm over, whipping that ball, and that angle again, exactly the same as the previous goal to level the game here at 4-all.
5 minutes to play, Ukraine 4, USA 4. We are all square in the second of the men's quarter-final matches at Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. Ukraine, so in control of this match in the early stages, have been pegged back by a resurgent USA, who are looking to go one step further. Waving their hands there. The bench not convinced that it was a legal ball. Referee's happy with it though. Topokov giving the ball to Olynyk. There's just a bit more confidence about the USA now. And Keith Young, very keen to come on and talk to the squad. Has a chat with Darryl Walker. All these plays will have been spoken about, the contingency plans. What if we're up? What if we're down? What if we're level? What if there's 4 minutes and 19 seconds on the clock and we're in the second quarter-final at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games?
Yeah, and that switch to move Callahan Young out to the right-hand side. He's played centre, he's played left, but moving over to the right-hand side is now whether Ukraine can stop that gap coming in, because you can guarantee Young is going to get the ball in his hand again, and he's going to be firing for that line inside that pocket.
Ukraine sit in silence, all ears, waiting for Callahan Young to get play back underway. He's after a hat-trick. It's just something a little bit more upbeat about the USA. More assertive. 4-all, 4 minutes to play.
That's a long time.
And number 4 could be coming on for Ukraine. It's all about the 4s. Zveni Sahenyenko standing by. Callahan Young goes for his preferred channel, pocket number 5. So Rodin Zalin will come off, making way for Zveni Sahenyenko, the 30-year-old. It's already played 8 minutes at this Paralympic Games. But these 3 minutes and 41 seconds will be the most important of his playing career to date. Ukraine in their first Paralympic Games into the quarter-finals, looking to progress to the semi-finals. Had the lead against the USA, but have been hauled back. We're 4 games all, 4 goals all even.
Interesting change here with around the height as well, the dynamics of the 30-year-old coming on, taller in structure and stature, so he's going to deliver different support both defensively and attacking-wise for Ukraine.
Darryl Walker snuffing out that first effort by the substitute. He's going to test him. Topokov resumes his meditation in the center. Oh, and that was a high, powerful shot from Olinyk. Matt Simpson deflecting it up and over the goal for the USA.
Potentially too powerful there, if that momentum that took that ball that far over the post on the crossbar.
The energy the players get into this hard rubber ball. And the energy it takes to block it by the sound of it. Here's Darryl Walker.
Good chase down by Topokov into the neutral zone.
Using all 10 seconds to get that ball back into play. Matt Simpson on the centre line. You can see the height that Sahenyenko brings to that left wing for Ukraine. Down the line.
Keith Young's talking to Callahan Young there about that line shot from the right-hand side. So the last few has been bringing it inside into that pocket. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't go straight down the line again, which he has doing. Straight in to the chest of the new defender.
No spin on that, just a straight underarm throw. It's a skippy. That was a skippy ball from Sahenyenko, like a stone crossing the surface of a still lake of water. USA have a timeout. At this point, a lot of these timeouts become tactical. If there's any left, it'll be interesting to see how they get used in the dying seconds of the match if we're still locked at 4 goals apiece. Still no signs of any concern from the Ukrainians.
I spend the time focusing with Olinyk. Topokov just doing what he does best.
He's so laid back.
It's amazing.
I mean, resting on the bar there as if someone was ordering him a drink. Darryl Walker on the left wing for the USA, the number 1. Goes cross court. It's popped up and over and welcomed by the Ukrainian team.
There we see the defender lying down, leaning forwards towards the court there. So he's not got his full body right, which is why it's got the quicker deflection, just skipping over the crossbar.
If the ball does hit you, you want it to go away and not into the goal. Stop or go out, get blocked out. Matt Simpson testing Topakov. Feels his way back into that central position as Olenyk tests Darryl Walker. And you see that with the experienced players, that as soon as they stop the ball, they start moving backwards towards the goal line, just in case the ball's going that
there
way.
Again, similar to what Simpson did earlier. Young, who's on the right-hand side, senses danger, moves round, really close to the goal line, stop that ball coming in. I think it was a combination of legs of Walker and Simpson then. Ukraine just start to pick in that little pocket there between those two.
It's Walker again. It's going cross court. Just misses. Giving Shenhenyenko a chance. He's snuck over to the right wing for Ukraine. No luck to go through that pocket in the fifth zone, but John Kusko celebrating the block. As that ricochets off the hoardings by the side of the court. That must have gone 15 feet into the air.
See Walker a bit departing now for Kusko. Oh no, he's changing it up. He's taking Simpson off, putting Kusko on.
Something different. We have a minute left on the clock. Ukraine 4, USA 4. If this minute plays out without another goal being scored, we're heading for extra time. And golden goal. I don't know if I can take it.
You can.
It's exciting, it's brilliant. And for those who've just discovered Goalball, we hope you're enjoying it as much as we are at Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. And if you're visually impaired, this could be the game for you. In 3 years' time in Paris, you could be playing for your country. Olenyk tests Darryl Walker. Kushku to Callahan Young over on that right wing. Goes down the line. It's a big man opposite a big man. Oh, that's off the feet of Darryl Walker. But brilliant defence. How he moved backward like that.
Looked like that was going in.
I just don't know how you're able to propel yourself backwards on your side on the court, but Darryl Walker did.
Years of training.
20 seconds. Less than 20 seconds left in regulation time of this second men's quarter-final at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. And still Ukraine look calm, look cool.
USA having to do more of the scrambling on the defense, having to hustle, having to get there, while each of the Ukrainian defenders are going to go out their job, knowing exactly what they need to do. There's a lot more pressure, I think, the expectations from USA in this qualification process and the knockout stages for what Ukraine have got to do, what's got to deliver as well on their Paralympic debut.
So the tactics for the teams, we could well see some more timeouts called, but there is no benefit in running down the clock, because if we go to golden goal, first goal scored will take that team through. Callahan Young has moved to the left wing for the USA. It's gone up and over the net. Topakov.
He hasn't swung from the left-hand side for a while. Again, it's that change of angle, that deception.
Zizhenko trying something similar. Darryl Walker felt that. 7 seconds into the last few microseconds of this match. So Ukraine call a timeout with 1.8 seconds on the clock. I don't even know if you can get that back into play and up the court in 1.8 seconds. So stand by for extra time.
I don't speak the native language, but I'm sure it's put the ball in the back of the net. Take the team to the semi-final as fast as you can. You've got 1.8 seconds.
So we'll hear the hooter, which will tell us they've got 15 seconds to get into position. I suspect Olinyuk will start spinning and running before that whistle goes. No, it looks to me like Ukraine have settled for extra time. The UK are in a the USA are in a defensive position. And at the end of regulation time, it is USA 4, Ukraine 4. We're into extra time and golden goal.
Incredible performance. Ukraine will be probably the more disillusioned of the two, or disappointed, not disillusioned, disappointed of the two with those penalty chances they've had go. USA have had to work really hard to claw their way back into this game. But anything can go now. Could be one throw, it could be the whole 6 minutes.
So 3 minutes each way. At this Paralympic Games, we are not seeing the teams change ends because of COVID infection procedures. And 3 minutes each way, and a half-time, if necessary, of 3 minutes. We could have 9 minutes without a goal, and then it would go to extra throws, which is nerve-wracking enough. But for all of those who are back home covering this, watching this, following this, listening in, sit down, pull up a chair. We are into effectively sudden death.
And we've seen games start in this competition with the first throw going to the back of the net. So it could be as quick as that. So the three that start, and it's going to be Walker, Kusko and Young for the USA. No changes for the Ukraine.
Topakov relaxing, stretched out on the crossbar. The goal crossbar, just waiting for the referee to come and perform the mandatory eye shade test as we go into out of regulation time and into extra time.
This is where you have to start really strong, be it on attack or on defence. You've got to be on point every single time now. We heard at the end, in that last 1.5 seconds, in that timeout, Kusko in the middle, just talking to Singh, going, John, are you there? Daryl, are you there? Just ready to defend. And we've heard that communication all the way through from the US team, and they are very vocal as a team anyway. But again, just reaffirming, yeah, we're all in this together. We're all working together for that common goal.
Zach Buehler looked like he was chewing his fingernails down to a stub on the sub bench for the USA. Played no part in this match so far. For now, it's up to Callahan Young, Matt Simpson, John Kusko and Darryl Walker. And for Ukraine, Rodion Zahalin, Alexander Topakov. Just waiting for the noise to die down. And for the buzzer, right on cue.
First overtime half between Ukraine on my left and USA on my right. Regulation time score, Ukraine 4, USA 4. USA starts the ball. Quiet, please.
So, slight advantage to the USA. They get the first throw. Can Callahan Young seal this? Yes, he can! And the first throw of extra time from Callahan Young in the centre takes the USA through to the semi-finals of Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. It is Ukraine 4, United States 5. The USA bench don't quite know whether they can celebrate yet or not, but now they do. And it is jubilation for the silver medal winners from Rio 2016. Ukraine led for such a large part of this match. But with the first throw of extra time, it's the USA who booked their place in the semi-finals against the People's Republic of China.
It took one throw to decide the knockout stage of the Paralympic Games. Ukraine showing sporting spirit, lining up. They'll be disappointed with how this result has gone, the opportunities they had. But USA have had to fight hard and come back into that. Callahan Young, the man of the moment, the man of the team as it's been this whole tournament. giving them the winning goal.
Such great spirits from the Ukrainians there. They know that when it comes down to extra time, anything can happen. Such a brilliant performance on both sides. 4-4 after regulation time. The USA bringing themselves back into the match and putting themselves in contention for a medal as they're cheered on by the women's team, who will play their own quarter-final match tomorrow. Tears of joy from the USA women's team.
If you're going to win a game, you might as well win it in some kind of style, a bit of drama, a bit of tension, a bit of nerves. And they had it all. Team USA have gone through the journey in their group stages, losing 2 games to the mercy rule, but then to come back from 4-2 down to 4-4 and then take that golden goal with the first throw in extra time. Just incredible scenes here in Tokyo.
And yes, the USA, you do deserve to take a bow. The emotion written clearly on the faces of those players. Matt Simpson, absolutely jubilant, tears of joy streaming down his face. Let's take a look at those statistics, the blocks coming into it there. Look how many more the USA were forced to make by Ukraine. 9 more, and just that one goal in the end, in the first few seconds of extra time, taking the USA through to the possibility of a medal after the silver at Rio 2016.
Well, they're guaranteed 2 more games, they know that. A lot down to the penalties there as well. 4 penalties given, and the defence working. All right, the penalties were missed as well, but they did actually get the saves on them as well. But the pressure just told a little bit too much for this new team. Now, Ukraine, again, making the quarterfinals of their very, very first Paralympic Games is huge. But there we see the contrasted styles in the semi-finals. USA have just booked themselves a semi-final match against China.
The United States have more men's Paralympic Games medals than any other nation. Between them and the women, they've got 11 Paralympic Games medals, 11 world titles between them. Matt Simpson, silver medalist in Rio, along with Tyler Merrin and John Kusku. Darrell Walker also on that podium 5 years ago. Will they be there when the competition reaches its climax? Well, look at the jubilant celebrations from the USA in a moment that Callahan Young will have dreamed on as he makes his Paralympic debut this year.
Fine margins, and all it took was one throw. One throw to decide who goes through to the semi-finals.
It is the USA. Ukraine dominating much of this men's quarter-final at the Makuhari Messe Hall C. But the 4 goals apiece at the end of regulation time. We're in the knockout stages, though. The match needed to be decided. We went to extra time, and with the first throw of extra time, the big calzone, Callahan Young, 26 years old, of the USA, put the ball in the back of the net. 4 of the squad return after taking silver in Rio. The USA beaten in the semi-finals in Beijing by host China. They're pushing on to look for gold in Tokyo 2020.